Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So we're going to work on the Morning Mist bracelet today, and this bracelet uses some of the beads from my most recent collaboration with Eureka Crystal Beads called the Stonehenge Ancient Ruins Collection. So I believe the collection itself is sold out, but they have all the beads individually, or a majority of them. They keep restocking the beads. So you'll just go to the collection and just if you scroll down, you'll see what's available. So you and these are pretty standard beads that you can find anywhere. So this is what it looks like. Let me give you a little look here. So here's the single. So I did a single, and then here is the double or the wrap. So here's the wrap bracelet. And what about a triple wrap? Really pretty. Or you can use this, you can use it as a necklace. So just, do one of those and you can, make it as long as you want for a necklace. So really versatile depending on what you would like to do. So I'm going to clear everything off. We'll get a materials list going and we'll get started. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm working on 1 million subscribers. I only need 825,000 more. Just kidding. Just if you subscribe, you'll get notified when I upload a video, and that would be nice. All right, so I'm going to get a materials list going and we'll get started. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So you need some 8mm chatons, and all of these beads and chatons of the blue colorway are from my collection. The green one, I just chose some beads from my stash. So you'll need 6, you need two plus. So if you're just doing a smaller bracelet, I just use 2 chatons here, but you can use as many as you need. 11/0 seed bead, 15/0 seed bead. I'm using the 3x2mm rondelle from my collection. 11/0 in a color, 8/0 in a color, again, from the collection. 4mm bicone from the collection. I have a toggle clasp here, which there's one in the collection if you haven't used that one yet. And I'm using some of these glue and end caps, but you can really do any ending you like. Got a stop bead. Size 10 and 12 beading needle. You might need that 12. And I've got some 8-pound fire line. You need some E6000 glue, which I didn't put in, but I'll put it in the description box below the video and anything else. So I'll put links to the collection, the beads, places to purchase beads, all colors, sizes, shapes, amounts you need will be under there. So don't forget to click that down arrow, the show more, the more. Box will open. Give you all kinds of goodies there. Any coupon codes I might have, I'll list there. All right, so let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to do the chaton first. So thread your needle with about 20 inches of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave enough of a tail to sew in. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead, one of my rondelles, and 4 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to sew up through the first 11/0 past my stop bead. So those 4 beads make this little unit, and I have my rondelle right there. Okay, next up we're going to pick up a rondelle and 4 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to drop those down, just like that. So they're going to pop right next to that unit. I'm going to sew through the first bead after the rondelle. I'm going to pull that so it makes a unit. And this is what I have. Let's do that again. So picking up a rondelle and 4 11/0 seed beads, I'm dropping them down to that last unit. I want to make sure everybody's nice and tight here because this is going to be the front of your bezel. I'm going to sew up to the first seed bead, 11/0 after my rondelle. I'm going to make sure that pulls into a unit. You can use your thumbnail to pull it in that direction just so it stays nice and tight. So that's all you're going to do until you have 6 of your rondelles and 6 of your little 4 bead right angle weave units right there. So get that done and come back and we'll continue. So I've got my 6 rondelles on and my 6 right angle weave units. Now we're going to make this into a circle. So I'm just going to move my stop bead a little bit. So this guy is not attached. Don't worry about it. So I'm exiting right here. I'm going to sew through this one, so that one that's not attached, that very first bead, and I'm going to sew all the way around. Now you may not be able to get them all together like I have, you can just go through as many as you can. and then continue on. Sewing around, you want to go past where your stop bead and your tail is. I'm just going around a little bit more, like that. I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to go a little bit longer, a little more, until I come out one of those 11-ohs in between two of the rondelles. So it doesn't really matter which one, just, you know, sew around until it's secure. And then, so I'm exiting here, I'm going to sew through the side bead of that unit and the top bead. This is what it looks like. Okay, let's continue. So next, I'm going to pick up a 15-oh, an 11-oh, and a 15-oh, and I changed the color of my 11-oh in the middle, just so it's easy for you to see what I'm doing. But you can use the, you know, you'll use the gold one there or whatever your metallic is. Exiting here, I'm going to sew through the top of the next one. Again, 15-oh, 11-oh, 15-oh, to the top bead of the next unit. So you're just going to do that all the way around and then be back here and we'll continue. Okay, coming down to my last 15-oh, 11-oh, 15-oh, you're going to sew through, again, the top bead. Make sure you don't sew through this one. You want the top bead of that unit. So you're going to sew through that one and then you're going to work your way down. So through the 11-oh, the 15-oh, the 11-oh, the next 15-oh, the next 11-oh, like that. You're going to go a little further, and then you're going to sew through the next 15-oh and the next 11-oh. So you're going to be exiting 11-oh right here. So it's one of the three we just put on, and it's right above the rondelle. So right there, just the 15-oh and the 11-oh. So you've just continued around a little bit, and that's where you're going to exit. Just like that. So you'll be exiting this 11-oh here, and you're, you know, you're directly above this rondelle. Okay, let's continue. So you can pop your stone in now, or you can wait a couple, you know, for just a minute or two. But I'm just going to pop it in now. So I just put it face down, and I'm going to pull. And this is what it looks like. It's not going to stay yet. So I'm exiting that center 11-oh. I'm going to pick up two 15-ohs. I'm going to skip the next 11-oh right here and sew through this one. So now you see why I put the other color on, so that it's easy for you to see where I'm going. Do that again, two 15-ohs, skipping this 11-oh, sewing through the next one. Two 15-ohs, exiting here, skip that 11-oh, sew through the next one. Just going to do that all the way around. Coming down to my last two 15-ohs, exiting here, skipping this one, I'm going to sew through that 11-oh. So skipping one 11-oh, sewing through the next one, making sure that sits nicely. So that's what it looks like. And now you're just going to move around your beads here. So you're going to sew through the next two 15-ohs. And then I'm going to skip that 11-oh and sew through the next two 15-ohs. This is just going to tighten everybody up. You may not, well, I think you might need it no matter what stone you use. I'm using a Swarovski here, which has a longer point on the back than, let's say, the chaton from the Krakowski chaton or other brand chatons. So if you need to reinforce, just go through the 15-ohs, and that's going to pull it in a little bit. So I suggest no matter what stone you use, you just go around at least once, and then you've got your chaton all bezeled and ready to go. So you're going to do, for the single bracelet, which we're doing here, we're not going to do the wrap, I'm just going to do a single. I'm just going to use, I think, two of them, two chatons. But if you're doing the wrap, do all six or more if you need more. And then we'll come back and we'll start on the herringbone in a minute, but I want to give you the lay of the land. So you have your, let's say you're making all your chatons, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make these pieces in between to attach to the Chatons. So I'm going to show you the traditional way with ladder stitch, and after I do the ladder stitch part, because I think that's the easiest way of doing it. So the most of the video will be using ladder stitch. I'm going to put another clip in at the end, and I'll show you how to do it with the non-ladder stitch start. And both ways, we're going to have to adjust our end a little bit, but they both work. And, you know, it just depends on, maybe if you're a beginner, the ladder stitch would be easier. So we're going to get started with this. The beginning, where we start, we're going to start at one end, is going to be the same no matter what. It's just when we start connecting in between the chatons that you'll use, you know, either way. So you'll continue with the ladder stitch and all the instructions will be on the video, or you can try using the non-ladder stitch start. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too confusing. You'll see as we go along. So let's get started. Needle, I put on a stop bead, and I've left enough of a tail to sew in. So I picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 4 of my 11/0 in the gold. I'm going to sew up the first 2 after the stop bead. Like that. So I'm exiting here. I'm just going to sew down these 2. I'm going to pick up 2 11/0. So just getting the base, get ready for our herringbone. Exiting here, going to sew through the other side of those 2. Like that. And up. Let me pull these lights away just a little bit. Okay. Picking up 2. Sitting here, just sew up through the other side of those 2, and then down. Again, picking up 2, exiting here, sewing through the top, and then up. One more time, pick up 2, exiting here, sew through the other side of those 2. I'm exiting, and down these 2. So I have my base done, and now we're going to make it into a tube. Let's make this into a tube. We're exiting here. I'm just going to sew up through these 2. Just at the other end. It's going to come around this direction. Like that. I'll show you the thread path. And then down these 2. So that's my thread path. So when I just give it a little pull in, this is what I have. Like that, I've made it into a tube. So I'm exiting right here. I'm just going to sew up through these 2, just to kind of get my tube right in shape. Just like that. This is what I have. Looks like a triangle right now, but it's actually a tube. You can kind of put here, I'll just take my, there we go. Now we're a tube. Okay, so we're going to start our herringbone. So this is our base. I actually took my little tube and I put it on the end of the knitting needle. But if you're going to do that, make sure you hold it with you. See, I'm holding it with my finger here because you don't want it to push down to the wider part. You'll stretch it out. So what I'm going to do at this point, or you can just hold it with your hand. I'm exiting here. I'm going to pick up 2 11/0, my gold. I'm going to go down 1. And then up 1. Like that. I'm going to pick up 2 11/0. I'm going to sew down. I'm exiting here. I'm going to sew down this one. And then up this one. I'm going to pick up my last 2 11/0. I'm going to sew down 1. And then you want to sew up 2 at the end. And your thread kind of just tells you where to go. See that? So down 1, up 2. And now I have my first round of herringbone on. So I'll take it off. This is what it looks like. Let's add on another round. So picking up 2, sitting here, down one, and up one, pick up two, exiting here, down one, up one, make sure that turns into a stitch there, pick up your last two, down one, and then up two. Okay, so this is where we are now. So if I put this up here, see that little part's going to go in my clasp. You can make this a little longer if you want, you know, this way and fit more in here. I just have 4 going at the moment. So next up, we're going to add the blue beads on. Okay, so we're going on to our color. So I'm picking up 2 of my color. Exiting here, I'm going to sew down one. And then up one. Picking up 2, down one, and up one, picking up 2, down one, and then you're going to go up 2. So up the gold and the color. And now I have my first round of color on. So you're going to put 2 more rounds of your 11-0 color on and then come back and we'll continue. This is where we are so far. We have, you know, the 4 rounds here. Then I have 3 rounds of 11-0s. Now we're going to put a round of 8-0s on. So here I am, exiting here. I'm going to pick up 2 8-0s and sew down the next bead. So down one and up one. 2 8-0s, down one, and up one. 2 8-0s, down one, make sure they flop over, and then up 2. So up the 11-0 and the 8-0. Just like that. We have our round of 8-0s for the bicones. So when you put the bicones on, you know, as you graduate in size in the beads, you know, they're going to not fit as well. A little more thread may show. So you just be a little bit more careful in how you attach them. So exiting here, picking up 2 bicones, I'm going to sew down the next one. So the next 8-0. And when I push this over, I'm going to give it a pull and I'm going to make sure, see how I'm pulling it inward a bit? So I pulled it to a point to where, do you see how those 2 bicones are nestled up against each other? So if you can do that, that would kind of, you know, take up some of that space. So down one and up one. Again, 2 bicones coming out of here, down this one. And again, I'm taking the time to really push those into place. See that? And then up one. 2 bicones. Down one. Again, really making sure they're seated as best I can. And then up 2. So up the 8-0 and the bicone. So you see now you have that bicone round on. And it's starting to look like a flower. But don't worry, it'll all come together. All right, so next up we're going to do a round of 8-0s. We'll just get that done. To the 8-0s. Now we're coming down again. So I'm exiting the bicone. Go down one. Make sure that they flip into place. And then up the next bicone. Again, pick up 2, down one, up one, up 2, down 1, and then up 2, so up the bicone and the 8-0. That's what we have, and it looks like a hot mess right now, but it's going to be beautiful, you'll see. All right, so get that done and then we'll continue. We're going to do our 3 rounds of our color 11-0s. So picking up 2 11-0s, you got it. Down 1, up 1, and it's going to start pulling together at this point. 2 of the color 11-0s. Down 1, make sure those are sitting in place. Up 1, 2 11-0s, down 1, up 2. So this is what it looks like. And if I kind of push it together a little bit, that's what it's going to look like. All right, so you're going to do 2 more rounds of your 11-0s, and then we'll start with the gold 11-0s. Okay, we're back. This is what it looks like. This is where we are. So now we're going to put on this gold group and the other color, the color at the end. So what you're going to, so I'll get you started. Going to put on, we're going to do 8 rounds of gold. So here, exiting here, picking up 2 gold beads, down 1, up 1, picking up 2, sewing down 1, then up the next one, picking up 2 gold beads, down 1, and up 2. So there you go. It's starting to come together now. So you're going to add 7 more rounds of your gold beads, and then 3 more rounds of your 11-0 color beads. I'm using the green here. So 7 more of these, so 8 altogether of the gold, and then 3 more of the color, and then come back, and from that point we will attach a chaton. Okay, so I've done my piece, so I'm up to here. That's where we are, and now we're going to attach the chaton right there. Okay, let's get this chaton attached. So the way you're going to hold your piece, because we'll be adding sections on, is, I'll show you from this end. You see where the beads are connected right here? So in between those, see here where that's not connected right there? That's where that rondelle of the chaton is going to sit, and it's going to cause a little bit of a curve, which I think is really pretty. So every time we connect a piece, you're always going to make sure that you're connecting here. Okay? So thread your needle with about 16 inches of thread and put a needle at the other end. So you have 2 needles on 1 piece of thread, small piece of thread, and then let me just situate this way so I can actually work easier. So I'm just going to take 1 needle and I'm going to pop through one of the rondelles. So just like that. So here you'll be connecting here, and then you'll be connecting next group to this one. So I'm going to pull that through. Now I have 1 needle at each end, like that. Now remember, you have your opening right here. I'm going to sew down with 1 needle. I'm going to sew down this bead right here, and with the other needle I'm going to sew down this bead. I'll show you the thread path in a second, like that. Just going to straighten it out a little bit, and this is what it looks like. So this is my thread path. So when I pull, see how the rondelle is going to sit right in there. Okay, let's continue on. So we're going to take 1 needle. So here's where we attached our rondelle. We went down that green bead, so we're going to go up the next green bead, like that. I'm just going to turn it to the side and hold it like this. So I'm exiting this green bead. See that right angle weave unit in there? I'm going to just go through that bead right there. And then the next one. So that gold one on the top, the gold one on the side. Let's do the other side. So here we're exiting this green bead. We've gone down that green bead. We're going to go up this other green bead. I'm going to hold it to the side, again like the other side, and here's that gold right angle weave unit. We're going to sew through this bead, and then this bead. So now I'm going to turn it on the back. You'll be exiting with one needle, this bead, gold bead, and this gold bead. Okay, let's finish it up. So we are exiting one needle from this gold bead, one needle from this gold bead. Make sure you give them a little pull so that when you look at the front, it's pretty. All right, so we'll take one thread. We want to make sure this little bead 11/0 is going to be sitting right here. So I'm just going to come down a couple of beads. So exiting here, I'm going to come down just 2 or 3 beads here, like that. And you could just do the same with the other needle, like that. And then you're just going to, exiting here, take your needle, come up again, like that, across this guy. That's how you're going to attach that one. So that 11/0, and then down these again. Okay. And then you're going to do the same thing with this needle. So going back up, I get my needle in there. There we go. Up you go. Across this guy. And then down these again. And you could change your needle size here if you need to. Maybe I'm going to do a smaller needle. Just pop that through. And that's what I have. So you're just going to, sew both your threads in. And then when you turn it over, this is our pretty little connection. All right, so get that done and come back and we will continue. So now we're going to continue on with the herringbone. So we're up to here, and the next group of herringbone we're going to make is, we're going to skip these, the color 11/0. We're going to do 8 rounds of the gold or your metallic, 3 rounds of your color. So these are both 11/0, 1 round of 8/0, your 4mm bead, whatever you put here. This is the bicone. And then we're going to go down. 1 round of 8/0, 3 rounds of 11/0, 8 of these guys, and then 3 of these. So you're going to be working from here all the way to here. I'm going to put that on the screen. I'll get you started, but I'll put this all on the screen, so that will get you here. And then what we're going to do is, after we finish that, we're going to add on here, but you'll do that with me on, because I want to show you how to do this so it looks just like the other side. Okay, let's get started. You're going to thread your needle with about 4 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave about a 12-inch tail, because we're going to use that tail to add these blue beads on. So we're going to be working from here, like I said before, here all the way to here. And everything's going to be written above the screen in, as I said, ascending and descending order, so that you know what to put on. So I'm going to drop down to my stop bead 4 of my 11/0 seed beads. We're doing the gold right now. And I'm just going to make my herringbone base. Sewing up 2. And then down to these 2. Again. A couple more times. Here we go. So now I have on my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches that I'm going to make into a circle or just connect the ends, same thing. So exiting here, I'm going to sew through these two on the other end, like that, and then these two here. And when I pull, I'll just show you the thread path there. See that? Just pulls those together and then come on up here. Okay, so now I have my herringbone base, so I can start adding some beads. So remember, you have your 12 inches coming out of one end and you have your longer thread coming out of the other end. You're going to finish, you're going to put on 8 altogether, 8 rounds of the gold. So I have 2, so I'm going to do 6 more, 3 rounds of your color, and I'm going to put it up there. As I said, it should be up there. 1 round of the 8-ohs, 1 round of the bicones, then I'm going to go down 8-ohs, the color 11-ohs, and then 8 rows of rounds of gold, and then 3 of your color 11-oh. And that's going to bring us from here all the way to here. And then with this thread, we're going to do some connection right here. Okay, so have fun, come back and we'll do this part together. Okay, so I've got my piece done. Now I want to put some blue beads here, or green beads, whatever your color is, to attach here. But I want to make sure that my attachment, the way I attach the beads, I'm going to have the opening here, because we want the opening here every time we attach to a chaton. That's why we're doing it this way, so we can get it open right there. So let me just show you on mine as I go. So here is my piece. I'm holding it so, let me move that out of the way. Holding it so when I look down at it, I'm just looking here, see the 2 8-ohs, then I have this whole line of 11-ohs here, but it's open right there. So I want you to make sure the other side looks exactly the same, except it's not going to be open at the end. So here are the 2 8-ohs. I'm going to just follow this all the way down, and here are the 2 beads that match this end right here, so I know it's straight. Now I'm just going to squeezing it like this really helps, like flattening it. I'm exiting, so here are here's the end that I started with, the gold end, and here are my 6 beads. I'm exiting this bead right here. So when I hold it like this, see that? It's this bead. I'm going to pick up 2 of my green 11-ohs. I'm going to go sew down 1 and then up 1. Still holding it so that this is in a straight line. See here? And then these 2 are on. Then there's going to be a space here, right? And I'm going to go down. I'm going to pick up 2. I'm going to go down 1. And then up 1. Get the last 2 on. I'm going to reach over here. There we go. Then I'm going to pick up 2. I'm still squishing it down. Down 1. And then up 2. There we go. All right, so that's the end there. So when I hold it this way, you'll notice here is I'm holding it nice and straight. Here's where it's open. It goes all the way down, 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 and then see how it's going to be open there again. So that's how you want to do it. So that opening is going to be there, and the opening is going to be here on the opposite end in the same place. So get that done, and then do 2 more rounds of of your color, and then we'll attach the chaton. So let's take another look at attaching, the chaton. So I'm going to attach this piece to the other side of the chaton. So I've cut about 15 inches of thread and put a needle at each end. What I'm going to do here is I've sewn through the rondelle with 1 needle. I'm going to go, here's my opening. I'm just going to sew down through this guy, so that bead, and then up the next one. So going a little bit faster this time, like that. And then I'm going to take my other needle, so I'm just moving my piece around. Okay, and I'm going to go down this one, so that's the other side there, and then up this one. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. Just going to continue with this needle. So now I'm just going to hold it to the side. I'm exiting that blue bead right there, or green bead. Here's that right angle weave unit. I'm going to sew through the top bead of that unit, and then this side bead, like that. And here we'll just continue on a little bit. And then I'm exiting here. I'm just going to sew right down these 3 blue beads. A little different than when I put the first one on, just a little faster. Okay, so right down, like that. That's what it looks like. Then I'm going to go to my other side. So here's my needle. I'm exiting that blue bead right there. I'm going to sew through that top bead of that right angle weave unit, and then this one, just holding it so I can get to it easy, like that. Exiting here, I'm going to sew right down these 3 green beads right here. So then when I give it a little pull, look here, pulling it in, this is what I have. I'll turn it to the other side to show you the front. So yeah, I've got a really pretty connection there. So turning it over, I think we'll just continue on. Picking up one needle, I'm exiting these 3 blue beads. I'm going to sew back up through 3 on the other side. Like that. I'm going to go across this 11-0 here to attach it. And then back down these 3. Like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Picking up my needle, exiting here, I'm going to sew up these 3. You can change your needle size if you need to here. I'm doing okay. Across. And then back down again. So I could probably use a size 12 needle here, but I'm getting through. All right, so this is what it looks like. A little press. You're going to sew those threads in. I'll turn it to this side. And look how pretty that looks. So that is our connection. We're all connected. And then you're just going to keep adding on, if you need to, for as long as you want, to make yourself your length that you need. And then come back and we'll add the clasp on. All right, see you in a few. Okay, let's play with the non-ladder stitch start. So this is going to be fun. So remember, we're only using it for these sections that are in between the chatons. The beginning is the same no matter what. So when we do the first section up to here, it's going to be the same, and here. So it's when we start here that I'm going to make this section with the non-ladder stitch start. Okay, let's get started. Let's do the non-ladder stitch start. And as I said, you're still going to be fussing with the end. So I don't know that it's going to make a huge difference, but it'd be fun to learn it, right? So I'm going to thread my needle with if you're going to just do the bracelet, you want to put the 4 feet of thread on. You want to stop bead and leave about a 10-inch tail because we still have to fuss with the end a little bit. So I've dropped down to my stop bead. 6 11-0 seed beads that are totally different than my bracelet colors because these are coming off. So they're just a base for us to work on. I'm going to pick up another stop bead. So I've put those 6 on, pick up another stop bead, and attach that stop bead like that. So this is what it looks like. I have 6 11-0 seed beads in a color different than my bracelet and a stop bead at each end. All I'm going to do is here's my working thread. Here's the stop bead. I'm just going to skip the stop bead and I'm going to sew right up through that first bead after the stop bead. And that's what I have so far. I'm exiting that green bead. So I'm going to pick up I'm going to start my bracelet beads now. So I'm picking up 2 of my blue, green, whatever color you're using, exiting this green bead. I'm going to sew through the next green bead and then the following one. So the next 2. I'm going to try to keep this straight so the beads sit kind of like a herringbone stitch. See that? See how they're sitting kind of tilted a little bit? And now I'm exiting this green bead right here. I'm going to pick up 2 of my blue beads. I'm going to sew through the next green bead and the one after. When I pull those over, I just want to make sure they're not twisted and they're going to kind of sit like a herringbone stitch. Right now you have a big thread in between there. Don't worry about it. We'll pull it together. This is what we have so far. I'm going to pick up 2 blue beads. Exiting here, I'm just going to sew through that last green bead. And again, I'm making sure that I'm not twisting my thread. And I'm gently pulling it so that kind of sits a little bit like a herringbone stitch. See that? And I'm just turning my piece a little bit just so it's easy for me to sew. So if you notice, I've got the 2 blue here, 2 blue here, and 2 blue here. Those are going to be my herringbone for my bracelet. Exiting this green one, I'm going to sew up through the green one on the other side and the first blue bead. So exiting here, skipping area the stop beads, sewing through this one and then the first blue bead. And when I pull, just make sure your threads stay in line. I have this kind of wonky looking sort of mess of beads like that. So we're going to pull it all together in a second. And just to give you the lay of the land, these are the bracelet beads. We're skipping all the other beads. We're just using them as kind of placeholders. Okay, so we're going to pick up 2 blue and we're going to do some herringbone now. So exiting here, I'm just going to sew down 1. So just sewing through the next one, down 1, and then make sure those sit like a stitch, and then up 1. So just ignore all the other beads and just use the blue beads. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to start pulling it up a little bit. Picking up 2, my blue beads, down 1, put those into place, and then up 1. Pick up 2, down 1, so just going down the next blue one, making sure it goes into a herringbone stitch like that, and then I'm ignoring everything. I'm coming out of the blue one, ignoring all the other beads. I'm going to go up 2, so I'm going to go up the 2 blue like that. And now just pulling that a little bit. This is what it looks like. So when you kind of pull it up like this, do you see how we have herringbone stacks going on? So all you're going to do is continue going around. So if you are, and we're going to take the green beads out in a minute. I just want you to get a little length first. So if you are doing if this is part of your bracelet and you're not just practicing, you have 2 rounds of blue on. We're going to have to add 1 more round, but we're going to have to do that with the other thread. So like I said, you're still going to be fussing a little at the end, but not bad. So all you're going to do is start with your next color. So I'm doing the gold, so you can just kind of hold it up like that. And so if I hold it this way, I'm picking up 2, going down 1, and then up 1. Picking up 2 gold beads, going down the next blue one, so down 1, and then it's hard to hold it, up 1. Okay, my last 2 gold beads of this round, down 1, like very clumsy in the beginning. And then you want to go up 2. So you're going up the blue one and the gold one. Just get my hands on this a little better. So here, down 1, up 2. And it still looks a little crazy, but you just want to keep doing that around. So add a few more rounds, just doing like maybe 2 or 3, so that we have something to hold on to. And then we'll take the other beads out, and I'll show you the other end, and we'll add 1 more round of blue on. Okay, so I've got a little bit of length on. I just wanted to, I know it's a little wonky at first when you start putting the other color on, but you'll just follow your normal herringbone at that point. So now I want to get rid of those green beads because I want to add another round of blue. So all you're going to do, here's your stop bead. You're just going to pull that stop bead off. You're going to pull that stop bead off, and then you're going to pull the green beads off. So I'm just going to take these 2 green off, these 2, and these 2. And now you have your herringbone start without ladder stitch. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to have to just fuss with it just a little bit to get both ends the same. So this is the herringbone, you know, without the ladder stitch, and that's perfect for any kind of herringbone. For this particular neck bracelet, you're just going to have to fuss with it a little bit no matter what. So if you notice, here's my opening here where the beads aren't sewn together. But when I go down here, they are sewn together here, but they're not sewn together here. So that's showing you the, you know, no ladder stitch here. However, with the bracelet, we need this opening to be here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put my last round of my blue beads on. So I'm going to just reverse directions. So instead of going this way, I'm going this way. So I'm just picking up 2 and going down 1 and up 1. I'm going to pick up 2. I'm going to go down 1 and up 1. I'm going to pick up 2. I'm going to go down 1. And I'm going to go up these 2. So those are the 2 beginning beads. All right. Now this is what it looks like. So here I'm going to just show you at this end. So if you notice, it looks just a little bit wonky right here. So if you're going to use this instead of doing it the other way, if you're going to use the non-ladder stitch way, just make sure that is always in the back when you attach your chaton. So here, now I'm open here and I'm open here. So when I attach my chaton, I will go here like that. But and just make sure, you see how that kind of almost looks roundish right there? Make sure that's in the back, that very back part. So this side I did this way. So when I came around and did the back, it pulled these all together. So you're not going to see that sort of opening right there. It's going to pull it together, but just make sure it's on the back. So here, when you attach, you know, make sure it's open at one end, open at the other end. You're going to attach like that. You're going to make sure when you situate it that this sort of opening here is in the back, so that when you sew down those beads and around, you know, like we did before, it straightens those out. So you can use this method as well. So I'm going to leave that up to you, and you'll just have to go back to the sequence page clip, and I'll do some timestamps in the description box so that you get your sequence correct, because it's just going to change a little bit, because remember, we're, you know, with the non-ladder stitch start, but I think you can figure that out. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I hope you had fun with that. You don't even have to use it for this, but you know, maybe something useful for the future. All right, so let's finish up. Okay, so I've got my length done for my single bracelet. I've taken my glue-in end caps and I've added a jump ring and a toggle clasp. And here's where you can adjust, make your bracelet a little longer if you need to. Just add jump rings. So that's ready to go. And then here is my end, the end of my beading. And you see how it's open. I want to close the end now, so it will be closed. See, like that, like the other end. So I'm exiting. You're exiting any, whatever, you know, stitch you've just done. So let's say I'm exiting right there. So instead of going this way to add stitches on top of these, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to close this top up. So I'm going to go down one, just nothing on the needle, just the thread, up one, down one, up one, down one, up one. So you've just done that all around. So you just, see how you've just closed the end up. You've just put a thread through everything. So both ends are the same. One of my ends is a little bit longer than the other. But, you know, you're just going to adjust it inside. You know, you'll make it the same length on either end. And then all you're going to do, I'm not going to do it right here. I'm going to use E6000. I think this is the best. Just use it in a ventilated area. And then you're just going to put some in your end cap, a little bit on here. Just be careful not to get it all over the place. And like I do generally. And then I'm just going to put my end caps on. I think these are 6mm openings here. So I'm just going to spread it out. You know, I'm just going to, you know, put these in so it's nice and kind of even. And I'm just going to let that dry overnight, but make sure that everything is nice and straight in the way you want it. Don't go crazy with the E6000, just, you know, because it can blob out all over the place. So you don't want that to happen. So here you go. Here's your single. Here's our pretty little wrap bracelet. And I didn't make another one for the necklace, but you just make it longer for the necklace. Make it as long as, you know, as long as you need for a, you know, for sort of a collarish necklace, maybe a little bit longer than that. All right, so there you go. Here is your Morning Mist bracelet, wrap bracelet necklace option. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you make this and post it on Facebook. It's so much fun. And again, learning some new techniques and ways of, you know, of adding, you know, connecting pieces. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.